welcome back, y'all. It's another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. And as always, we are presented to you in partnership with brands that we feel represent the very best of the outdoor industry. So before we get started, we'd like to give a special shout out to Moultrie Products, Ullers Archery, Threads Custom Bowstrings, G5 Outdoors, Blackburn Apparel Company, Deer Pip Scents and Lures, Vision Clothing, Bluebird Waterfowl Company, Angry Chicken Outdoors, Alps Outdoors, and last but certainly not least, a special shout out to the good folks over at Briley's for leaving a legacy of shooting innovation. Whether you need new cameras to elevate the scouting experience, new arrows, or anything for your archery setups, clothing, scent, or whatever it may be, as a supporter of the podcast, you can use promo code WDTT promo. That's WDTT promo for 15% off anything on the website at ullersarchery.com. Some exclusions may apply. With that being said, let's dive into another episode of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast with your host, Mr. Courtney Williamson.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Williamson. I've got another super special guest on today. I've had him on before. He's back for round two. Mr. Tyler Terry, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How's everything going your way?
Everything going good my way, man. I ain't got no complaints. You know, kids getting big, getting old. I'm getting old. Wife's getting old. We just getting old.
Hey, it's a blessing to have your eyes open and be able to do that, man. And it's opening day over there in Kentucky, so
yes, sir. Opening day here in Kentucky. My best friend almost got a shot at a velvet buck this afternoon. He had a doe come in with that buck, and the doe, I don't know what happened, but he said she got the blowing and everything at him, and ran them both off. Both of them ran. He was literally about 2 seconds from drawing on this nice buck, and he took off on him. So I told him just keep at it, man. You know, it's opening day. You'll get a crack at him. So
oh yeah, that's dope to have an opportunity. And the first thing, you know what the good book say: if she bloweth, she must go with.
She must go with. That's what I told him. He said, "Man, I was gonna shoot her, but he's like, he took off. She took off. So I was like, yeah, he'll be back though. So
oh yeah,
time in the stand, but." Yeah, man. So this podcast is going to be a little bit different topic today. I've been getting I wouldn't say a lot of flack, but I've been getting a lot of questions about why I hunt, what got me started in the hunting. For the people who do know me very well, they listened to my podcast before, but some of the newer listeners, they haven't gone back and listened to some of my older podcasts about how I got started and whatever. And, you know, they know I'm a hunter. They know I'm a fisherman. They know I'm an outdoorsman. And they're always like, well, you're just out for blood and you just shoot anything that walks and y'all are destroying the land and this, and that. So I was like, I'm going to get on here and talk about this a little bit and get a guest on to give their perspective too, as well as mine. And we might have another guest on here shortly. My boy J Cam might be getting on here to give his perspective too. He just got home. I think he's getting settled down, so he might hop on here in a little bit and give his perspective. But we're going to start with Tyler first. So before we jump into the heavy stuff, you know, tell us what inspired you to start Bridging the Gap Outdoors and what your mission is.
So I met a good buddy of mine, Joe. He runs Outdoors in Color on IG.
Yep, shout out to Joe.
I'm gonna say maybe, shoot, it's probably been a good almost decade now. That makes me feel old. And that was back before he was even doing his content. And we talked about how we wanted to start doing some hunting content because you don't see a lot of people of color represented out there. And so we talked about it, and it just was, for me in the beginning, it was a lot more just tire kicking, if I'm gonna be honest. I talked about it. I get like a GoPro here, get a GoPro mount there, and then I get another GoPro, I get like mics and stuff, and then next thing I know, I had like all the gear, and I'm like, dude, you like 35 years old. You've got everything to do it, but the time. What are you waiting on? And so then I was kind of like, well, what's my angle going to be? Because, you know, there's different niches within the hunting community. And I thought about it like in my journey through the outdoors, like I grew up fishing, like I told you before, fishing, and then in the small game and up to the big game with whitetails and stuff. And the thing that really stood out to me along that journey as my knowledge grew, like talking to people of color, like I would see, hey, there's a lot of people that look just like me that want to learn to do this. They don't know how to do it because they were always told that's white boy stuff, or you trying to be white, or they weren't exposed to it because they're in the city. So just kind of I started taking homeboys out, co-workers, whatever, taking them out fishing. Never been fishing before. It's a good buddy of mine now, Medgar. We took him out trout fishing and just kind of showed him the ropes with that because here in Missouri they stock in St. Louis rather than in different parts of Missouri they stock city parks, the lakes with trout, and then you can trout fish starting like February 1st. You can keep them. So exposing to that, he never caught a fish. So we went out, we did some trout fishing. He got the hook of the hang of that, and he'd been hearing about, everybody talks about how good eating crappie is, and he wanted to go crappie fishing. So I kind of like mentored him through that, and we didn't get to link up yet. We're going to, but he went out and he's already caught his first crappie, and he's on it, man. Like, so just I want to be able to bridge the gap, which is where the name is, for people that haven't had the exposure, the experience, the mentorship, whatever the means be, to be able to help them be able to go out and have a sustainable skill so that, hey, times are getting rough, money's tight, tariffs are constantly going up, everything's going up. You can go get a fishing license and your fishing gear. You can go out and fill your freezer if you know what you're doing. Same with the wild game. You look at deer, turkey, doves, everything else. It's like I said, it's still in the beginning phases. I got two little ones, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and just started a new job. So I'm not pushing as much content as I want to yet, but it's coming, especially as my boys get a little older and they're starting to express interest in the outdoors too. So that's kind of the method to the madness, if you will.
That's what's up. Yeah, I like the name, the Bridging the Gap. You know, because I started my brand, you know, kind of on the same premise as, you know, you and Joe and a couple others in the industry. So it's just kind of cool to see it come full circle with all of us, and you know how close we've gotten through this podcast thing, and how we, you know, call, text, check on each other, you know, try to get each other out for hunts and whatever. You know, sometimes our schedules don't align because, like you said, we got kids and jobs, and you know, we're adults now. So, but it's dope to see that. But
for sure.
So, but beyond the harvest, what does hunting to you mean personally?
To me, well, really, I mean, it's ancestral. I got a lot of Native American blood in me. So I tell people when I say it's in my blood, they laugh. It literally is. But to me, dude, that's my time, my peace, my quiet, my time with God. And a lot of anti-hunters may not understand that, and that's okay.
Right.
But I mean, hunting is biblical, even if you look at the Bible when you talked about going forth and taking your arrow and your quiver full of arrows in your bow and hunt some wild game for me. To me, I get out there, dude. Like the most enjoyable part for me in the hunt is probably my morning hunts, and then evenings are cool too. But dude, just being out there in the dark, you're walking in the woods in the dark. It make you feel like, I think with this society that we live in, everything's instant gratification, so fast paced. But you get out there, it's slow, dude. It's quiet, and you feel like you like this big out there. You get the bigger picture of God's universe and His creation, and then sitting there and seeing like the woods wake up, and then the birds start chirping a little bit with certain ones, and then the squirrels will start, and then you look up and seeing like those sunrises and them sunsets that look like paintings, dude. Like that's really what it's about for me. And like a bad day in the woods and the tree stand or on the boat, the lake, the pond, wherever I'm at, is still better than the best day at work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned Genesis 27:3 right there. I actually got it tattooed on me.
Okay.
And it's a verse I love. There's a lot of verses in the Bible I love, but it's part of. I tell people, man, like you just kind of mentioned it there. Like it's my time in the woods. It's my time of peace. And that's where I have some of the most longest, deepest conversations with the Lord out there.
Definitely.
I mean, we've talked about everything from like me switching jobs to me, wanting to get married before I got married, and is this the right thing to do? What path I need to be going down? I mean, it's just a lot of alone time, a lot of peace down there. When I go down there and hunt my land, and even if I'm going with somebody else, it's that same thing. You're listening to the woods open up. A lot of times deer hunting, you're walking in the dark. You're scared to death a lot of times when you're walking through, but you know, God's got you. He ain't gonna let nothing happen to you out there. You know.
Oh yeah.
Then when the woods do start opening up, man, the birds start chirping, the squirrels start doing their thing, the crows, spring turkey when you're out there, and
Oh
the
yeah.
turkeys start gobbling, man. I'm telling you, it's nothing like you've ever experienced before in your life if you've never done it. And I try to get that through to people, the non-hunters, but it's just like they have their mind so set on us being
Killers.
just killers
Yeah.
that they don't open their mind up about other things that we're doing while we're out there. I had a talk with a gentleman last year, might have been 2 years ago. I woke up late. It was during gun season here in Kentucky. I woke up late. I was about out of gas. I should have got gas the night before. But I got gas that morning. I'm getting gas fumes all over my clothes.
Mm.
Something that you don't need to do. But this old man said, how you doing? I said, I'm good. How you doing, sir? He said, oh, it's my favorite day of the year, favorite week of the year. The couple weeks that he's out there, he said, my wife's gone. He said, this is my time to get out there and fill my freezer so I don't have to worry about food, you know. And he said, my wife's gone. She don't cook, she doesn't cook for me no more. So he's like, I'm on my own now. So I've got to make sure that I got enough food to last me. And when you put it in that perspective, man, I was thinking about that man all day long. Some people give hunting a bad name, but when you look at it from that perspective, this man has lost his wife, who he probably been married to for 50 some years or longer. He's an older gentleman. He loses his wife, he loses his best friend, loses his partner, and now he's got to do everything by himself. And those 2 weeks of gun season here in Kentucky is the time when he gets to go out, harvest those does. He's not worried about antlers like most people are.
Mm-hmm.
He's out there just trying to feed himself. And you look at it from that perspective, it's like, wow, like, it's just for a
Impactful.
non-hunter, man, like it's just hard to not root for that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, hope he
Yeah.
kills every doe that comes out so he can feed himself, for the rest of whatever. And I actually seen him the other day in the gas station, same gas station, and he's still doing good, waiting on deer season to come because all he does is gun hunt. He doesn't bow hunt or anything. So I was like, man, hold on, November's coming. So
Right.
it's you put it in that perspective, man. I like try to tell all the non-hunters, man. There's a lot that we do, which we're going to get into it to this podcast to show people we're not just killers. We're not just about blood. We're not bloodthirsty. Now you do
Mm-hmm.
have some of those people that are out there that are, trophy hunters, um, that only want to shoot big deer. And then you got your people are out there that pretty much shoot anything that walk. And I mean, you got those in every group. But for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, your real hunters, we're out there for a different reason. Conservation is big to us. We don't break the laws, because if we break the laws, that means we're possibly going to lose our hunting rights. And I don't know what I would do if I couldn't hunt.
Man, same.
So, but yeah, a lot of people who don't hunt, tend to give hunters a bad name, saying we're all, bloodthirsty killers and whatever. Like, why do you think that perception exists?
That's a great question. I think it comes down to some people just weren't exposed to it, and so just like I'll equate it this way, like being a person of color in the outdoors. Not everybody's seen that. Not everybody's used to it, and when you're not used to it, kind of like we alluded to on the last podcast we did, what's your intent? Why are you here? What are
Right.
you doing? Because anytime I've seen somebody that looks like you, something bad happened. Like that's a big part of it. I can give you an example. I was at urgent care. It's been a few months back. I had a bad sinus infection. I'm in there, and I had on this shirt from a brand and a page I follow on IG called The Average Conservationist. This guy Marcus runs, real cool dude, and it had a Euro mount on just a regular gray T-shirt. It had like a Euro mount of an elk, a mule deer, and a whitetail, and then it says Average Conservationist. And so the nurse comes in and she looks at my shirt and she's like, "Oh, what's with your shirt?" I'm like, what do you mean? What are you a hunter? I was like, yeah. Oh, you're one of them. I was like, what does that mean? She's like, well, what's conservation? Like, why do you like hunting? And I wasn't expecting to go, I'm here, I am feeling like crap, trying to just get a shot, get my medicine and get out of there. And
Right.
she challenging like my whole life views and my lifestyle. So I was like, to me, hunting is a lifestyle. It's a way for me to feed my family. I got two grown little boys. They need good food, and God put that on the earth for us. It's not pumped full of additives and steroids. You want to talk about grass fed natural? It don't get any better on the natural and the green side of things than wild game. So
Right.
I kind of explained that to her, and then the conservation side, because she assumed I just like to kill everything. I said, no, actually, you got it wrong. The vast majority of the hunting community, we actually are stewards for conservation. Um, the biggest, when you look at the conservation industry, is funded by over 90% of the money that conservation has is from hunters. So we are a big community, and I would argue till I'm red, blue in the face all day with anybody that says differently. Like, as hunters, we love the quarry, any of the game we're hunting and chasing. We love it more than anybody else. You have to be able to learn the language, learn the mannerisms, behavior, all of that. And to be able to do that, if you're not interested in it, you don't care, you're not gonna take your time doing that. You're not gonna you're just not. And by the time the appointment was over, she was like, "Wow, okay, you actually changed my mind. Maybe not all hunters are bad." I was like, "No, we really not. You gotta take the time to get to know us. We're just like people. The rest of people, there's good ones, there's bad ones. So get to know us as a person, and then formulate your opinion before you look and see somebody's got on real tree or mossy oak and just turn your nose up at them, start firing in on them."
Right. Do you feel like movies, TV shows, and now we're in the age of social media? Do you think like all that has something to do with us getting painted in a bad light?
I mean, social media, I would say, is 50-50. Just in general though, not really. I mean, if you look back, like when we were kids, you had movies like Bambi out there, things like that, The Fox and the Hound. So like it's been a societal thing to have hunters chasing wild game. And back then, yeah, you had people that didn't like Bambi, what happened in Bambi, or what happened in The Fox and the Hound, different stuff like that. But it's I think since you look back since the beginning of time, there's always been people that liked hunting and understood it, respected it for the aspects of what it is, and then you have people that didn't. So now social media has given a lot more. I'll call people the bad apples is giving them a bigger soapbox and more visibility. but it's also done the same for people out there that are trying to do the positive and the good, like your channel, Joe, what I'm trying to do, Jay stuff, Trey, everybody. Like, so it's given us a soapbox to reach out to people that look like us, come from similar backgrounds, that we didn't know were even out there. And so you realize, okay, maybe I'm not a unicorn like I thought I was. There's other people out here doing what I do too. So I think, like we talked about too with social media before, it can be used for good and bad.
Yeah, it can be. So what some specific examples, if you can give them, where you've seen hunters like making a positive impact on conservation?
Well, in Missouri, we have a thing here called I'm sure y'all do too. It's probably called something different. We call it share the harvest. So in Missouri, when you harvest your venison, say you got enough, you've already shot 2 deers. That's all your family needs for the year is 2 deer. But you want to keep hunting because you got some more tags to fill. You can tag those deer and you can take them to certain certain processors will be on this big registration, and you can donate your venison to feed families in need. And I think that's an excellent way. They partner with the Department of Conservation and these processors to be able to do that to help feed those in need. Because like I said, times get tough. Just like you talked about the gentleman. Some people that's their blessing. That's how they eat. And it's dope, I think, too, that the way deer season falls, it ends up being right around the holidays too. So that kind of makes you feel a little better about giving as well. Feeding somebody potentially right around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, because that's when deer season really gets heavy. But that's an example I can give you.
Yeah, I there's a lot of people out there that now they know that they can take so many does or whatever to the processor for, like Hunters for the Hungry or Food to Fork, so they can help out those people that are less fortunate, just for them to have Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas dinners, and stuff like that. Because in the wintertime, man, it gets rough. It's cold outside. And if you're already struggling, you're trying to figure out where your next meal is coming from. And
Oh
these
yeah.
these type of organizations are out there for those people. Kill you a few does, take them to the processor. They process them for you, no fee. And, they find those families and give them that meat. And it's good meat. It's not full of preservatives and, all this stuff that, they inject in these, cows and stuff now, man. It's clean organic food, because basically all deer eat is grass, corn, acorn, stuff like that. Like, it's super clean meat, great protein, and it tastes fantastic if you've never had it. So organizations like that exist, to help people. So I can't see how anybody could say, we're bloodthirsty, we're this and this and that. We're trying to give back to not only feed our families, but feed other families as well.
Exactly.
So, do you think people will respect hunting more if they understood like that part of it, like the food, and even the family like tradition side of it? Because like I know some family, we used to do this ourselves. Like, we used to get together every Thanksgiving morning, and we used to have a big rabbit hunt. Me, my dad, my uncles, my cousins, we'd have a big rabbit hunt every, Thanksgiving morning before we went to my aunt's house. They'd all come out to the farm, we get the dogs out, and that was like a family tradition. Now, um, some of those people are dead and gone in my family. So now me and my cousin are trying to start the tradition where we go duck hunting every, Thanksgiving morning, and then go to our respective families' houses and, kind of do our own thing. So do you think that non-hunters would respect it more if they knew, more about the family, tradition side of it and the food side of it?
I think potentially, yeah. But again, like we said, you got good people, you got bad. So there's some people that till they blue in the face. Hunting's bad. It don't matter how you doing it, why you doing it. It's bad in their eyes. But I think there are those out there. You get the more rational beings that are open and free, clear-minded thinkers, and they're open to receiving and processing that kind of message. Yeah, I think that that's a dope avenue to be able to get through to people, and then that may be they may be all about charitable donations, and that may be what takes them over the edge and actually gets them into getting their feet wet into the outdoors, so to speak, into the hunting and fishing industry.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. I think if like more non-hunters knew, could actually sit down and talk to, one of us and actually keep an open mind about everything and not have their mind made up, you know, pre, you know, pre talking to us, I think they learn a lot. But like you said, there's a lot of good hunters out there, a lot of bad hunters like out there, just like people. You got good and bad people.
Mm-hmm.
You got something to break the law, poach, whatever, and then you got us that follow the law to the T because we don't want to get our hunting rights taken away, or our shotguns, or truck, or
Vehicles.
anything,
Yeah.
vehicles, because them game wardens, they've got a lot of power. They got more power than a lot of people think they do.
Oh yeah.
They can take everything that you got and fine you forever and take away your hunting rights for so many years or forever if they want to. Just depends on what kind of mood they're in and what laws you're breaking.
Yep.
So, but how important do you think it is to pass, you know, what we do on to the next generation so they understand um, what we do and how important it is to keep this moving to the next generation?
It's monumental. New hunter recruitment is the premier and the of the utmost important to the hunting and fishing community, because if you look at statistics, it's really a dying lifestyle. Some people call it a sport. I prefer to call it a lifestyle. But it's a dying thing, because if you look just the way the country's set up, our population is growing. As our population is growing, you got to have more places for people to stay, which means that these metropolitan areas are expanding, and that's taking away more and more rural land and places for people to recreate. And then when you have certain governors trying to sweep things under the rug to take away more of that land, it really makes it harder to continue that lifestyle, because there's a lot of people that it's just like, it's the best way to put it. If you run it, they're not making land anymore. And if they constantly cutting down trees and these fields and building new subdivisions and high rises and apartments and casinos, resorts, whatever, eventually there will come a day, if we didn't have these things set in place to protect these green spaces, that it would just be concrete everywhere. And you look like, I'm in a big metropolitan area in Missouri, and with that, like now in the suburbs, dude, we got deer everywhere. They eating
Right.
people's shrubs. Um, you see deer like getting impaled on like wrought iron fences. People having wrecks, like it kills people's families. Like, they're overpopulated, which further exhibits the need for what we're doing, because again, there's a conservation aspect to it, and you're supposed to have so many deer per square mile. And places like St. Louis, dude, we in some spots there's like 20, almost 30 deer per square mile, which is an overpopulation. You get too overpopulated, you start getting into disease, and you see all this damage to property, like I spoke about. So it's critical that we pass that along, this lifestyle, because you need a successful means of conservation, as well as passing that along to your family. Like, I've got two sons. The way prices are on things and everything, like, you never know what life is going to bring, and I want to teach them. The Bible talks about being able to teach. What happens when you teach a man, you give a man a fish versus teaching a man a fish? Same principle. You give a
Right.
man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. So, and teaching my boys and like raising them, rearing them in that outdoors lifestyle, they running around playing with crappie now when we catch them and handing them to me and dad, watching us fillet them. Like they learning that so that it's normal to them. And I want it to be normal to them because eventually times get rough. They're gonna know how to go out and get some food.
Right. Yeah, yeah. That's one thing that I think people don't think about when they think about, hunting and conservation and stuff is they can go to Kroger, they can go to, Save a Lot, Walmart, wherever, get meat
Till
right
COVID
now.
hit.
Yeah, until COVID hit. And so you see what happened. Bread was flying off the shelf, milk, all that. People was freaking out.
My
Us
freezer was
hunters,
full.
our freezer was full. We was good. But you got to think about those people that were freaking out. They didn't know where their next meal was coming from. They didn't know, a lot of them are sitting at home not getting a paycheck. Bills don't stop,
Mm-hmm.
and you still got to eat. So it's like if the grid ever goes down, something ever happens, I'm a big conspiracy theorist as it is. I watch them shows like The Walking Dead and stuff like that.
Oh
If there's
yeah.
something like that does happen, man, like you got to be able to fend for yourself. You got to be able to harvest your own food. You got to be able to, make a fire. You got to be able to survive outdoors and live. And us hunters, man, whether you're a hiker, whether you're a hunter, whether you're a fisherman, most of us know how to make a fire outside without, a lighter, or, anything like a match or something like that. We know how to cut down trees and, go get firewood. Like we know how to
Yeah.
make our own fishing poles if we got to go out and fish, and,
Survival skills. Yeah.
the survival skills that people don't think about, and I want to pass that down to my son and, the next generation, just in case something does happen like COVID happens again, where you're sitting at home and maybe your freezer's not full, but it's November, September, October, somewhere around in there when deer season's open, and you got all these, dove season's open, and you got rabbit season, squirrel season. You can go out and harvest some of those animals, clean them, and there's your food. And even making your own, your own crops, like your own corn,
Mm-hmm.
your tomatoes, planting tomatoes, onions, whatever you want to, and eating those, canning, it's kind of coming back to where it used to be. I used to have to can my grandmother and my aunts and stuff, we always had plenty of food. We might not had as much as some people did, but we never went hungry. And my dad always told me, I'm gonna teach you how to survive. Something goes down, I'm gonna teach you how to go out and kill whatever you need to kill to eat for your family. So
Mm-hmm.
passing that down to the next generation, man, that's huge.
It's critical.
Because if not, man, you're gonna have a lot of. I feel like it's gonna be a lot of crime because people's gonna be trying to break in houses and break in this, break in that just to get food because they don't know how to go out and get it on their own. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it makes me think about that movie, Leave the World Behind, when the grid
Oh yeah,
crashed.
yeah. It's crazy, man. But hopefully nothing like it ever happens. But if it does, you know,
Mine gonna be
I'm
ready.
ready for the apocalypse, man. I've been, you know, collecting, what I need to collect, as a prepper. I ain't got to really
Mm-hmm.
get into that too
Yep.
much. I might get in on my podcast about that one of these days. But like,
When you do, I gotta do it for you.
yeah, okay, that's what's up. I met a guy in college, man, and his dad was. I went to his house one time to hunt. I got invited on a big quail hunt, and he realized, the passion I had even back then, and he invited me in his house, man. And he had like this safe room, that he had built pretty much under the steps of his house that you can't see from the outside. But this man had, MREs in there. He had water troughs. He had like a pretty much a whole system where that could drain water and make it drinkable, and just a lot of things that he taught me how to survive if the grid does go down. If Russia comes over here and bombs us, where you got to stay on the ground for so many days so you don't get killed,
Exposure,
basically exposure to stuff like that. Like he was just
nuclear
teaching me
waste.
all this
Yeah.
stuff, and he gave me some stuff to get started, and I just kind of been building on that for years now. um and some people think I'm crazy when I tell them that, but I'm like, dude, you never know what could happen, but you just need to know how to, water's big. You just can't go out and drink any water. It might have bacteria and contaminants and stuff in it. Now I seen where somewhere down in Florida, I think people are swimming in the Gulf and getting like this flesh eating bacteria on them, and they can't get it off. And I read a story, I think it was last week, about a guy. He was, mushroom hunting when, those morels are out. He ended up picking up the wrong mushroom and eating it. And, he survived, but just knowing the lay of the land, knowing what you can eat, knowing which berries you can eat and what you can't, what poison ivy looks like, what poison oak looks like, what you can and cannot eat in the woods, man. It's huge, and I feel like people need to know this stuff just in case stuff goes down, like you see on TV. Half this stuff is made for TV, but I'm one of them guys. Like, if this does happen, though, I'm ready.
Oh yeah.
But how can platforms like your platform, Joe's platform, my platform, Trey, JCam, like, how can we help reshape the public's perception of us outdoorsmen?
Honestly, and knowing the group of dudes that you just named, being ourselves. Again, we not like out here posing, like we really do this.
Right.
And in doing that, like just being a resource to anybody that wants to learn, regardless of color, gender, sexual orientation, whatever, just being open and inclusive to helping people. Because I'll give you this example. If I was to get in a car wreck, I'm not gonna care what gender the person is coming to rescue me is, if it's like a big situation. So I want to get that same respect to when I'm potentially saving somebody's life by teaching them some survival skills.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Like, if something goes down where you're in a situation where you need to get to the hospital or you need somebody to save your life, you're not going to care what gender or what race, what creed they are. You just want them to get you to the hospital so they can, work on you. So yeah, that's a good example there. I like that. But someone, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Someone that has never hunted or even dislikes hunting, what's one thing that you would want them to understand after hearing everything that we just talked about?
Yeah, at the end, it's like my dad used to tell me as a kid: opinions are like buttholes. Everybody got one, and most of them stink. But everybody is entitled to their own opinion. So you don't have to respect what I do. You don't have to like it, but it is what it is. I'm gonna keep breathing and living. And if you're open to it and you actually give it a chance, you might actually begin to see and understand a little bit, and you may end up liking it yourself.
For sure. So looking ahead, man, like, what's your hope for the future of hunting and how it's viewed by the society?
That it continues to thrive and grow. Like I said, it's the numbers are on the decline, but with social media, you get all these flashy pages and profiles. It is intriguing some people, but just making sure that I want future generations of outdoors people to respect it, not just be in it for. I mean, yeah, antlers on the wall is cool, whatever, your trophies is cool, but you got to respect it. You got to put in your dues to get to that. There's like they talk about like when you're in hunter safety, there's like a hunter development where it's like you go through these different phases. In the beginning, you just trying to learn and get your first kill. After you learn and you get your first kill, then you want to start consistently killing. After you consistently kill, then you want to start killing trophies. After you killing trophies, then it kind of comes full circle, and then it's like you get to where like people like me, you, Joe, everybody are at, we trying to recruit and teach. And that teaching, it kind of comes full circle, and that's the process. So just like life, you can't, if somebody's new and they out there and they're shooting their first deer and it's a little spike, hunters that are like in our position, it's just all hunters even, don't talk down on that person. Oh, you should have got to get another year. That's the biggest deer in their life, or that's their first deer. If they happy with it and they proud enough to post it, congratulate them, lift them up, don't tear them down. And that comes, you got to think, you were at one point, that was you. I mean, you got some kids this, I joke and call them spoiled and ruined, that their family got hundreds of acres and they killing a 140 or 160 the first pop. But for the real world, that's not most people. So give them their respect, their congratulations, they dues, they paying their dues, and just show them some love.
Right. Yeah, I think like I tell people, man, social media nowadays, man, like you said, it's good and bad. Like you got the people out there that are just out for the likes, just out for the attention, and then you got your hunters, outdoorsmen that, this kid might have killed his first deer that you don't think's up to par with the deer that you may have harvested in the past. So you're downing this kid for killing a little spike or a doe or something like that, when we should be congratulating, because we're already looked at in a bad light as it is. So our own people, I should say, should be uplifting. We should be all uplifting each other. Like we're all on the same team. Like I tell my best friend, he's in the Army, and he's got some friends in the Navy and the Coast Guard and Marines and stuff like that. I'm like, look, y'all are on y'all are on different teams, yes, but your hunting or your everything that you do is for the same cause.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything you do is for the United States. So it's like, yeah, you might have different teams out there, but you're all trying to do the same thing. So we should be uplifting each other, whether you kill a 120-inch deer or a 205-inch deer, or whether you kill a spike or a doe. Like, you should be congratulating these people. Yeah, man, like great deer, glad to see it. Instead of getting in the comments and like, y'all remember my first deer? Why'd you kill Bambi? And why'd you kill this deer? I remember when I killed my first spike and whatever. Like some of them comments you see, man, it's just like, why are you even getting on here? Like
Man,
downgrading
it's
this person
sad.
for killing it, man. Like I don't understand those type people. I call them, keyboard warriors.
Yeah, it don't cost a thing to keep it real and be cool, be
Right.
kind.
But yeah, man, I hope somebody out there was listening, and maybe they're kind of on the fence of whether they want to get out there and try it themselves, or they're having a bad, they've been given a bad perception from hunters, by hunters maybe, or maybe they've been never exposed to it like you talked about earlier. So maybe this podcast will kind of give them a little bit of information, a little bit of advice, and if anybody else has anything that they want to talk about personally, you can help me, you can help Tyler, you can help Joe, my boy Jay, Trey, any of the crew. We'll be more than happy to talk to you about this privately if you don't want to, get on the podcast and talk about it. But I would like to get a non-hunter on here that basically has been told everything that we just talked about and why he or she dislikes us, just to kind of give a different perspective. Because, everybody that I've had on the show, we're all outdoorsmen. So it'd be kind of cool, I feel like, to get somebody on here that doesn't hunt and feel like, they've gotten a bad rap from hunters or whatever, and kind of give their perspective of why they feel the way that they do. I think that'd be a different podcast, a pretty cool podcast. But yeah, let people know, man, how they can get a hold of you if they have any questions for you or anything like that.
Yeah, Instagram. If you're watching this when it drops, you can see it underneath my name there at bridging_the_gap_outdoors. Shoot me a message. I'm an open book. Help you as much as I can. I know a little bit about a lot of things. So I can help you out, man. And jack of all trades, master of none.
Tyler Terry, ladies and gentlemen. This podcast will be out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and my personal YouTube channel. Make sure you give a like, comment. If you're on Apple, leave a 5-star review. It helps me out. It helps the channel out. I've got a few shout outs I need to make that are not in my intro. I need to redo my intro because I've got a few more companies that I'm working with. Sea Deer Camo. Guy named Jason Calvin hit me up a while back and wanted to start his own camo company that's affordable. It's very affordable. You can get on cdeercamo.com and check him out. He's got some great patterns. He's got anything from your early season stuff, your mid-season stuff, to your late season stuff to keep you warm. He's got scent-free bags. He's got pretty much everything that you can think of to keep you warm while you're out there or keep you cool while you're out there, whatever you need for your early season stuff. With Sea Deer Camo, I'll definitely drop a link to that so you can check him out. He's got some really dope patterns. He's been working on this for over 3 or 4 years. He's finally getting it off the ground, and I like seeing small companies thrive. And Jason Calvin he's a great guy, great person to deal with. He's ex-military, so shout out to all you military guys out there. Y'all always have a special place in my heart. And also shout out Rite shotguns. If you have not done your due diligence and shot a Rite shotgun, you need to buy one. I'm not saying that just because I'm working with them. I'm saying that because this is one of the companies when I got in this game that I wanted to work with. And I met the marketing guy at the NWTF this year. Me and him chopped it up for a while. I told him what I was all about. They reached back out. Now I'm an elite pro staffer for them, and I absolutely love their shotguns. I cannot speak enough about how good quality their shotguns are. You can get on Retail USA. Check them out. Dove season is here. Duck season is right around the corner. If you want to kill your limited ducks and not have your gun jam up on you, Retail is where you need to be. And if you need any more information about them, you can get on Retail USA. You can hit me up. I know everything about these shotguns. I've done all my research. I've tested them. There's no other shotgun on the market that I would want to have in my hands during duck season, dove season, rabbit season, squirrel season, whatever. They've got shotguns. They're about to come out with some rifles. They've got some great handguns. I'm about to do a review on their handguns. They're just a great company, and y'all would need to do your due diligence. Please check them out. RetailUSA.com. But if there's nothing else, man, you got any last words for the listeners?
Remember, it don't cost a thing to be kind. We all out here trying to survive. We wake up, we got the same 24 hours. So go out and regardless of what you're doing, do what makes you happy.
Facts. Tyler Terry, ladies and gentlemen. Big game, small game, all game. We do this too.
It's your boy C. Will. What the hell?